Whew. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Welcome back to my channel. If you're a usual subscriber, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button on the right of you. Hit the notification bell to get updates on new videos and get new videos from me every week. So this is something I'm kind of doing different on my channel. This is just me speaking on current topics that's been on my mind. And, you know, this is unedited. This is an open discussion. So if you want to comment on it, comment in the comment box below. If there's anything ignorant or racist, y'all already know I'm going to delete it because I'm not giving y'all my time in 2019. So I go to a PWI in Georgia, and there are like a good couple bit of black organizations that I'm a part of. So this semester I went to a meeting for like a Black Student Alliance meeting, and you know, this is my first time going. I've only known a couple of people who are part of it, and I went to the meeting. And usually when it's the first meeting, they do a game to get people to get to know each other, and they had the step forward if game, and I've played it before. It was like step forward if you experienced this, step forward if you've seen that. This one was step forward in Black Privilege edition. And so we played the game, and you could feel the awkward tension in the room because there were some people, including myself, who lived different lives than other people we go to school with. You know, it was like step forward if you had health insurance, step forward if you grew up in a two-parent household, step forward if you had an inheritance, step forward if you were able to go to private school. And I think that was the first time I ever experienced Black guilt. Those are some of the things I can name off the top of my head. There were a lot more. I think there were like 25 questions in total. And it really kind of like made me feel some type of way, because I felt like there is that sense of Black guilt over the way I grew up, even though these people don't really know me and what my story is. Those who know me and who've been on my channel before know that my parents immigrated here in the mid-90s. My grandpa was able to help my parents pay for school, but the rest they had to figure out on their own. They were going to school, working part-time, and lo and behold, I came along. So they had that, and then a year later, they had the triplets. So they were living in a townhouse-style condo in Peachtree before it got bougie back then, and they had to move into like a house-style condo because they had 4 kids at that point. And then my brother and sister were diagnosed with autism, so my mom left her part-time job and became a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, while my dad, he was working in security, and then he changed to a limo service because originally he wanted to be a lawyer, and he already had gone to college, got a law degree in Congo, but when he came over, they wouldn't accept his credentials and told him, hey, you have to start over. I mean, now you can probably come over with the credentials, but back then in the 80s and the 90s, people coming from different countries who have a degree, they were kind of barred out of those opportunities, and they either had to start over or find a new career. So then my dad was working in limo service. He had his own limo service for like 5 years, and then he started his own mining company in Congo. He gave so many people jobs. He was getting good money. He was taking care of my mom and all 4 of us. Plus my aunt, you know, she came to live with us for probably since I was 1 up until she got married and when I was about 13. So 12 years she lived with us. Even my Uncle Freddie, he came down to live with us too when he was going to school. Both him and my Aunt Irene were going to school, and we're helping my mom and my dad out because 4 kids is a lot. Then my dad died. My mom went back to work, and, you know, I asked her, hey, can I go live with Uncle Freddie? Because I wanted, I wasn't happy, and because we moved out of nowhere when I was like 9, and we had been in Africa for probably 3 years at this point, and I know it was hard for my mom to raise 4 kids, and we had to move back with my grandpa. So, and he was paying for us to go to private school, and you know, my mom, she was working to just take care of us in-house. So we made the decision like, okay, you're going to go live with Uncle Freddie because it's a better opportunity for you. Now, let me tell you, my Uncle Freddie, he's worked his butt off ever since he got here. He was working different part-time jobs. You know how like your parents will tell you about like what jobs they worked at back today? He worked at McDonald's with my aunt, worked at Wendy's, Sears, doggone, I can't remember. There's a whole list that we talked about like every family function. But at the same time, he got a scholarship for playing soccer and he got a degree in engineering. He has his bachelor's, master's, and PhD. That's a lot of hard work, y'all. And also, my aunt, she worked as a nurse. She got a degree from Pittsburgh and then a master's from KSU. And then right now, she's in med school to become a doctor. Do you know how much of that is so unattainable? She did all this while she had a son. I am just in complete awe. And my mom, you know, she was able to take care of the kids. She was able to get a really good paying job as a logistics manager with her business degree. So honestly, even though our family had money, our grandparents and my parents instilled in me that you have to put in the work. There was so much work that they put in to get to where they were. And they instilled that to me. And it wasn't until like recently in a couple of years, the last couple of years, I felt a sense of guilt because a lot of the times people will put people who have opportunities and who have some form of wealth, whether it be big or small, that basically they kind of like X you out because sometimes they don't have those opportunities. They kind of off you to like that like 5% of people and kind of guilt you for having this successes and these kind of advantages, but there really aren't advantages in your life. Here's the thing, just because we have opportunity and we live a certain way above middle class doesn't mean that we don't care about people who don't have it. We give back everything in every way we could. And I remember last year I put up a post about like, hey, if you're giving up your Nike, just hand it over to me and I'll send it over to Africa, because we send over stuff to Africa every year, not just for family members, but like people who are working to get people in group homes and shelters and orphanages. Like, if you understand the infrastructure in Africa right now, it is a mess. And I know black guilt is also stems to like people who kind of don't want to put in the work, but at the same time, you got to think about like, if you're putting in the work, if you're getting all this opportunity from working over and over, then you shouldn't feel guilty about it because people want to guilt you. And it's really something that's been on my mindset. You know, just because you grew up a certain way doesn't mean that the people who got you there didn't put in the hard work. That doesn't mean you didn't put in the hard work. Hell, I get guilted for going to college. Like, y'all, I'm not a trust fund baby. I'm on financial aid. Like, do y'all think my parents have that money like that? No. Like, seriously. You know how many people are on financial aid right now? Like, literally, I would not be going to school if I didn't have financial aid. I feel like when you want to talk about certain people who have some form of privilege, you got to understand their situation. I feel like people who go about that and see people's successes, they don't understand the journey it took to get there, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So I feel like we should educate ourselves more and don't instantly go into black guilt and don't assume people don't care, because people do care. They understand that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for someone's hard work. And, you know, if you're part of that convo, you feel that way, let me know in the comments down below. Let's have a very educational discussion about it. And, you know, this is the end of this. This is my first serious convo video. It's really different from what I usually do, but I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about. I have another video I'm going to upload after this. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time.